Hi, welcome to the Abort Ignorance Montana Podcast. I'm Tanaia, your host, and on this podcast, we like to educate, advocate, and heal the culture in Montana surrounding abortion. As always, please subscribe to our channel so that you can follow us and get updates when we have new episodes coming out. Make sure that you download the episodes. You can hear them wherever you are. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. If you have any questions or thoughts about today's episode, please email us at abortignorancemt@gmail.com. On today's episode, I get the privilege of interviewing Representative Terry Falk. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
He is the representative for the Flathead area in House District 10. He is a two-term rep so far. He was House District 8 before the redistricting. And I actually had the privilege of knowing Terry before he ran for office. I am friends with your daughter, and we got to know each other a little bit through that. And I remember being very excited when you decided to run for office. And I think you're doing great work for the legislative laws and things going on.
Sure.
And so that's how we got connected, and you agreed to come on to this podcast today. So just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Maybe tell me, do you remember when we first met? What?
It had to be, 5 or so years ago, and it was, I think, probably just through an event with Janelle, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Probably something with sports, I'm sure.
Okay. Likely. No, it's I consider you a great friend, and I appreciate Janelle allowing me to be involved and plugged into your friends and your friend group. So, born in Minnesota, raised mostly in Wisconsin. My parents moved me here and graduated high school. Went to Flathead Valley Community College and graduated there. Was involved in a restaurant enterprise and ended up being real estate finance, which is what I do today.
Okay.
I've been doing that for a long time, well into the last century. So that gives you some idea. And then my kids and I ran the Split Rock Cafe downtown. That was a lot of fun for about 3 years. And so now it's investments and real estate finance and politics. Wonderful. Which is unlike anything I've ever done. But 2 kids, one's age 30, Janelle's 28 now, a couple of grandkids, 3 to be exact. Wow. Love living here in the Valley. It's such a pleasure and a privilege, and wow, I'm so thankful my parents moved me here. Wow. And just, it's been over 40 years, and I've lived in the same house now, single guy, just working on my house where the kids were brought up, 25 years now. Wow. And just such a privileged life. So anyway, yeah. And in politics, I just want to make a difference. Yeah. It's not, like I said earlier, it's not unlike anything I've ever done. Mm-hmm. But this subject, this issue, this concern, this, scourge really on our country of disrespecting life is right up there at the top with things that I'm concerned about. Definitely motivated to try to make a change in that. Mm-hmm. Maybe I made some baby steps, but I've heard there's more abortions now than there was before Roe v. Wade was repealed. Yeah. So, a lot of good that did. So our efforts aren't taking us anywhere, and that's why I'm here. I hope that you can get this out to a jillion people. Your effort actually in this is admirable. You should be congratulated. And I was thinking today, as I was thinking about this, you have devoted your life right now to this, as well as being a mom and a wife. And so this is something that's on your mind literally every day, multiple hours a day. It'd be hard to stay upbeat and positive. I don't have that, because I've said this before, the battle on the floor when you're debating bills like this, like pertaining to life, is excruciatingly spiritual and emotional, and it's hard. Yeah. And I sort of get to walk away from it, though. Yeah. Yeah. I was looking at my notes from when I debated a bill in the last session, not 25 but 23, and interestingly enough, the talking points are basically the same.
Sure.
We just haven't made any progress.
Yeah.
It's still about compassion. It's still about loving both the mom and the baby, both lives, caring for them, not necessarily just doing whatever they want, obviously, which is parenting, as you are right there knowing, but making the hard decisions, being the adult in the room, and not in a punitive way, just because we know, as a parent, we can see the decisions that our children are making, and we can see the outcome, and we can see what they'll regret.
Right.
And I just feel really bad for ladies that end up going through an abortion and the trauma they have to experience after the fact. There's hope. Yeah. But that's irreversible, right?
It is.
So, So anyway, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
all that to say.
Of course. No, I love that. And thank you for what you said about this effort, because it is a spiritual battle, and it's true that, and I like to talk about that and encourage listeners, because it's something where I think the enemy does want to wear down the saints. He wants to wear down those who are fighting for life, whether it's the abortion issue or end of life with euthanasia or transgenderism or whatever it is. He just wants to see life snuffed out. And so you carry that weight. And when it feels like the outcome is so bleak in our state, where our hands are tied now. We've talked on a previous podcast about, the status of where we're at in Montana as far as unlimited abortion being in our Constitution. And it can kind of feel like, well, what can we do, and why does it matter? And so I think it's good to keep encouraging each other that it does matter, and we can always do something. We can pray, we can help at resource clinics, we can raise our kids and grandkids just to love life, and that eventually will shift the culture. And I know that the value of life in general is something that you are very passionate about. And can you tell us a little bit about why that is, or why are you pro-life? Or do you have, what's the history of what are you passionate, what makes you so passionate about this subject?
Well, I didn't grow up on a farm. Youngest of 4 kids. I'd never seen a pregnancy or a delivery until my oldest son was born. Okay. And I was completely blown away. Yeah. I don't know why, I guess I just didn't take the time to really, went to Lamaze and did all, and understood sort of, but then his delivery was really rough. And I saw what his mom went through, and I said, wow, I have a profound new respect for all childbearing women. That is incredible, that miracle. And then especially for my mom, because she had 3 kids before me, so it wasn't like she didn't know.
And she still chose to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm just that gratitude. And I want that gratitude for all babies, I want them to know their mother, to have a name, to take them to school, and so it's, and I think I had good parents, we didn't talk about abortion growing up. I don't ever remember talking about it. The first time I remember hearing about it was in high school, well after Roe v. Wade. Okay. And the arguments, by the way, they were the same.
I thought so. They haven't changed. They're not that creative.
No. They're just as weak as ever. Yeah. So I don't know. It's sort of like, because of the way I was raised, maybe it's sort of like common sense. And I feel bad even saying that, because I know a lot of people don't have that benefit of having parents like that. Some parents will tell their kids, I wish you'd never been born. Right. I think that's awful.
Or I wish you were a girl and you're a boy. I wish you were a boy and you're a girl. That one's very common.
Yeah. Those are messages that no child needs to hear. And, right. Hopefully, nobody feels like that, but at least, maybe don't say it. But, the value of life. I think that's central to this whole issue. You hear things like, there was a Instagram post where somebody was interviewing, taking signatures and interviewing a young couple, and said, hey, we'd just like you to sign this to refute the growing trend, or I don't know if he said that, but of puppies being aborted. They're just they're taken out of their mother's womb. They're being torn apart.
Oh my gosh!
And this is just awful. And we want you to sign this petition.
Yeah.
So they signed it. So here's another one. This is happening with humans too. And would you sign? And they wouldn't sign it.
Wow.
So and interesting. I mean, this came up on the floor in the 23 session too regarding a bill.
Yeah.
How is it that we've gotten to a place in our society where humans take less and a smaller role, smaller value than four-legged creatures?
Yep.
Sometimes the argument is made that, well, the world can't support population growth and all these additional people. Mm-hmm. But I've never heard anybody say that about animals. Right,
and there's all the animals that are here, and there's just such deception in these arguments, because the reality is, because of abortion, we have eliminated an entire generation, and in Montana specifically, we're actually in a natural decrease, which means we don't have enough people to repopulate Montana at the same rate that people are dying. And so we're actually going to, if we keep going the way we're going, we're not going to have a society left, because we're not going to have people to have it. Sure. And so there's just such deceptions like that just that devalue human life in any way that they can.
Yeah. Just to clarify something you said, the population is growing in Montana, but it's because of people moving in from out of state.
Correct.
So you're saying death rate, birth rate.
Yes, death rate, negative. Exactly. Yeah, death rate, birth rate. Yeah, that is negative. Yeah. Great point. Thank you. Yes, but if you just compare those two.
Don't misinterpret what you're saying.
We have lots of people that are moving in, that's for sure. It's slowed down a little bit.
Yes, it has.
But yes, just the birth rate to death rate in general, we're in a natural decrease. So
let me talk about, again, just maybe with the value of life.
Yeah, please do.
So there's a couple things. One is we seem to think that there are victimless decisions that get made in laws. Mm-hmm. We can disobey some basic laws because it's really not hurting anybody. And the issue, though, the second point I want to make is when you have, when you let what's the horse out of the barn is maybe the...
Okay.
Then all the animals want to leave because the door's wide open. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's happening with medical assistance in dying.
Okay.
We're devaluing life in multiple areas now. And in Canada, it's really brutal.
Wow.
And they do this because they think they can save money. I've watched
like the medical professionals. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
They feel like saving $80 million per year because they don't have to care for these people.
Oh my gosh.
In whatever fashion they need to be cared for, whether they're the elderly, whether they're the people that are severely, maybe mentally disabled, but even moderately. And now the next bill they want to pass is make it legal for minors. And in the bill that they're working on, apparently, I haven't seen it, but they are making it so that if parents find out and try to stop them, they can be arrested for that.
So if a teenager, potentially happening in Canada, if a teenager is bullied at school and they don't feel like they have, the resources to get through that, and they are, battling with insecurities, and they have depression, and they just want to not exist. They don't see the purpose in life. They can potentially, if this went through, they could go to a doctor, have a doctor-assisted, physician-assisted suicide. Mm-hmm. So they would be committing suicide with the help of a medical professional, and their parents don't get to know, and if they tried to intervene, would have consequences.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
It's
almost hard to wrap your mind around that.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff movies are made of.
Exactly.
40 years ago.
Well, and I've always said, if you watch Hollywood and movies, it's almost a foretelling of there's some things like that that's like, man, how could that be real? But, why aren't we instead, helping children, young teens and kids find their own value, find their own self-worth? Why aren't we putting in the efforts to help them with that?
Exactly. That's the point I wanted to make earlier, is I just don't want to be a part of a society where we just randomly give up on people. Okay, well, you're either not valuable enough, or you're too far down the road, or it might be better for society if we work less on trying to really help you than just give you an out. And I guess I just don't understand. I mean, I get that people don't. The two questions I like to ask people who are maybe experimenting with being a believer in Jesus Christ, or maybe just not interested at all, but they want to have a conversation, is I ask them, where did all this come from, and what happens after you die? Yeah. And I recognize that a lot of people just think this is it. This is all there is. Sure. But no one that believes that really knows that for certainty. And why would you just encourage somebody to quickly snuff out their life? This is it. I mean, it doesn't even make sense if you have that thinking that there's nothing that happens after you die. Well, then shouldn't you want to live a little bit longer? Well, yeah, if it's just over, shouldn't you want to experience all of it if this really is it? And makes sense. I don't know, sort of, but I guess, I don't know. But I think it's important to point out, too, that there are people in our society, particularly politicians, who want to make America look like Canada. This is their idea of what America should look like. Wow. And of course, medical assistance in dying has been taking place in Europe for I don't know how many years, but longer than Canada. So this is where they want to take us. And and you talk about a spiritual battle, and not dealing with flesh and blood. I mean, there's money behind this. Yeah. There's I don't like to use the phrase demonic activity very often, but I don't know how else you can't explain some of this with the darkness of it. And that's why I mentioned earlier, with what you're doing, and how, I mean, it'd be real easy to get depressed, I would think, doing what you're doing. Oh yeah. As you face this daily battle. And the probably one of the more depressing aspects of this battle is we're losing. Yes. I remember. And we're getting slaughtered. Yeah. And that's been hard. I remember after the Constitution in Montana was changed and CA-128 passed, we just didn't do much. I mean, I had just gotten married when CI-128 happened, and that was our main focus. And we pushed and pushed and pushed. And thank you, by the way. Oh yes, thank you for all that you did. And when it passed, in some ways, it's like, what do we do now? And we just stopped for a while until God recently started bringing up, like, well, after Charlie Kirk's assassination was really when we decided, okay, like there's a voice now missing in our nation and our state, and maybe we can do a little bit to help. But it is still a spiritual battle because it does seem like evil is winning. And so we have to just continue to encourage ourselves and encourage those around us. And for me, it's always, the more people that we have that are even involved in some little way. I have my sister, she has 4 young kids, and she's so passionate about pro-life, and she just does whatever she can. She calls, the reps when we need to for the laws, because she can do that from home. She does little bits that she can, and even that encourages me. Like, we don't all have to do a podcast or run for House district, but we can all do something, and that keeps me really encouraged and going. Because at least we're doing something, and all of these other avenues that we can help promote family in general, whether it's, making sure that we don't have physician-assisted suicide in Montana, or making sure that we protect kids from transgenderism. Like, we have to win somehow and somewhere, and we're not going to stop. We're going to do whatever we can to help the value of life come forth, and be culturally normal in our state and our nation. So, well, I guess I would like to address the people then that this is getting sent to, or people that are listening to this. I'm just going to be blunt. We're not doing enough. Yeah. As a society, maybe it's as churches, whether they're Christians. You don't have to be a Christian to be pro-life, obviously. I mean, it's true. It's pretty logical. Yeah. There's actually a whole group now called Secular Pro-Life. Oh. And it's a group, it's a nationwide group, and they're not believers, they're not Christians, but they are passionately pro-life, which, it's very interesting to engage with them on some levels. But just like you said, it doesn't have to necessarily be a Christian belief. I think that it's really founded in that because, God is life and love, but it just makes sense. Life it makes sense. It's really logical. It is very logical. So going down that road, then, if we're not doing enough, what can we do?
Yes.
The liberal political action committees, the non-government organizations that are behind this, they're super passionate, and you see it at rallies, and it's not just in this issue.
Yeah.
The level of hatred and violence and emotion, and I'm not saying we should match that,
Right.
but we should match the effort.
Yes.
And some emotion. I mean, we're emotional people.
Yep.
We shouldn't just stash our emotions away. We should use them rightly, and for good, and not to criticize or harm other people with our words. But that passionate group that's for abortion, those types of groups outraise conservative groups 4-1.
Wow.
We're so far behind.
Wow.
Now, the danger is that some people could listen to this and say, well, that's just too far behind. We can't ever catch up.
Yeah.
And I get that. That's a fairly normal human response.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to accept that as an excuse. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing and you're doing what you're doing. But we have to see this as a battle we can win, no matter how far behind we are.
Yeah.
Greater is he that is in us than he that's in the world.
Yeah.
Prayer matters. Yeah. It's one of those interesting phenomena that almost doesn't make sense.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things in life that don't quite make sense.
True.
So pray, talk to your neighbors, get involved somewhere. I don't know if 40 Days for Life is still happening. I haven't seen it for a while.
I don't know if we have a campaign locally. It is still happening, but I don't know if it's currently running in the Flathead. It is across the state, but
I saw you at March for Life.
Yep, March for Life.
A month ago or so, and that was really encouraging. We filled up that gymnasium with people.
It was amazing. Yeah,
and the speakers were bueno.
Yeah, so good. But on the 4 Days for Life thing, I don't know if we have that campaign going, but there are still a small group of people that go to the abortion clinic in Whitefish, and they pray every Tuesday and Thursday. So that's something people could do. They could, jump on that rotation and just go there and pray for an hour or something, and it matters. So and
take this podcast, spread it out
thank you.
Worldwide.
Yes.
I mean, this is not a Montana issue. It's a world issue.
That's true.
And, I mean, I don't like asking people for money, and I don't want people to give me money.
I understand.
But this requires funding.
It does.
And it has to come from people like us.
Yep. Thank you for joining us on part 1 of our interview with Representative Terry Falk. Please join us next time to hear more from Representative Falk from the Flathead area as we talk about what we can do legislatively to create a culture of life in Montana, as well as what it means to love them both and to support the mother who is considering abortion as well as the preborn baby. As always, if you have questions or thoughts about today's episode, please email us at abortignorancemt@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe to this podcast so you can get notified anytime a new episode airs, as well as download them so that you can listen anywhere on the go. We look forward to having you with us next time.